Long ago in the old forgotten time, Gitche Manitou, the Great Spirit, created only strong, healthy people. In those days all the men were tall and brave. They could run like the storm wind. In their games they were clever and swift, and they knew all the secrets of the four-legged ones, the forest animals who were their brothers. The women in those times sang as they worked. Their clear voices filled the forest with melody, and they walked with light step and straight back, even when they were very old. They copied the fragrant flowers that grew like colored stars among the grasses. They wove flower shapes into bright bands to bind their long black hair with nimble fingers. The women wove rushes and reeds into sweet-smelling mats to cover the floors of their teepees. Gathered milkweed down to make soft beds for their babies. From birch bark they could make a strong container, a muck to fill with all plenty of woodland and stream. Nobody was ever sick in those days. Nobody died. When someone grew old, Manitou sent one of the shining spirit messengers down the magic vine that grew in the very center of the Ojibwe lands. The vine grew in the earth, but its far off top was looped around a star. The shining spirit messenger would carry the old one up and up and up through the vine's great leaves, up into the sky itself. There the old ones lived forever, watching over their beloved people and the campfires twinkling below. The Ojibwe people were forbidden to touch the magic vine. It was a living ladder connecting the earth with Manitou's great blue sky home. Other spirit messengers also came to earth from time to time to see that everything was going well. These spirits came down the magic vine from the north, the south, the east, and the west, from every corner of Gitche Manitou's kingdom. They took the form of Indians, and they would walk through a village or camp, speak to every person living there, no matter how young, no matter how old. Are you content? The spirits would ask. Is there anything you need? Everyone was treated the same in the eyes of the Great Spirit. All were equal. But one day in one of the villages, the discontent began to grow, like a dark thorn bush shadow spreading along the pathways. In this village, the people saw that their spirit messenger favored a certain young man who had lived among them all his life in the lodge of his loving grandmother. Every time the spirit appeared, it would invite the young man to walk arm in arm with it through the village. Nothing like this had ever happened before. The people were jealous and their anger grew. They feared the spirit, but they did not fear the young man. Whenever he was alone, they gathered stones in secret and shouted insults at the young man. Sharp stones flew at him in hidden places. The poor young man was afraid to go about in the village, but he was afraid to stay in his grandma's lodge too. All night he could hear the sounds of villagers circling the lodge and muttering threats. At last he only wished to leave the village. He wanted to disappear into the sky, the spirit messenger. One day the spirit appeared in the old woman's lodge, where the sad young man was sitting. The spirit stretched out its arms. Your sad thoughts have reached me. You shall come with me and live in the kingdom of Gitche Manitou, the Great Spirit, forever. Desperately, the grandmother tried to clutch her grandson's arm, but before she could touch him or cry out, the young man was wrapped in a crackling blue light. It carried him in a flash through the air and up the magic vine. The spirit and the young man were gone. The old woman wailed and shouted for him to return. Be Gawain, come back, but there was no answer. When darkness fell on the village, the grandmother crept along the forest edge until she reached the forbidden vine. When she came near the vine, it began to give off a wild light. The force from within it seemed to be pushing her away. But the old and wrapped her arms around its cold stem. All night she climbed. The vine swayed and buckled under her weight, but still she went up and up. When the sun rose, the people awoke and saw that the woman's lodge was empty. They searched everywhere for her. Where could she be? And someone shouted and pointed to the sky. "Aye!" The people were horrified. They could see the old woman, but she was only a small speck climbing that forbidden vine where it nearly touched the sun. She had disobeyed Gitchi Manitou, the Great Spirit. "Be Gawain," they shouted at her. "Come back." The vine rippled and shuddered, but still went on. The vine looked as thin as a hair. "You old witch," they screamed, "come back." "Set fire to her lodge," cried the chiefs. "She is bringing shame and disaster to us all." Now at last the old woman was near the top, where the vine was a thin tendril tied to a star. Her tired fingers reached out to pull her weary body past the star anchor and onto the floor of the Sky Kingdom. But after all, this magic vine was made only for spirits to use. Snap, crash, a sound like thunder followed the young man's grandmother as she plummeted to earth. The sound was heard in all the villages, in all four corners of the Ojibwe Forest Nation. And from all four corners, the people swept in like a great wind to gather in a circle where the grandmother lay in the cold ruins of the magic vine. They pushed and pulled at her. "What will happen to us now?" they cried. Grandmother covered her ears to keep out their angry shouts. "What punishment have you brought down on us, you old witch?" They did not have to wait long for their answer. Pain and discomfort began to strike first, this one and that one. Their legs ached, their heads hurt. Some could not walk, others could not speak. Some of the people fell to the ground. They looked like they were asleep, but they did not move or breathe. The sorrow and the stillness hung like a black robe all over the land. There was no more singing, there were no more games. No longer did the sounds of contented people soothe the heavy sun to its evening rest. Now the people understood. Disease and death were their punishment. What could they do? They could only wait. Then, one day the air was filled with a strange blue light, and the spirit beings came drifting down out of the sky. Their faces were sad. They had no blessings for the people. They had no gifts. All the spirits raised their voices together. "One of you chose to disobey Gitchi Manitou. Now your punishment is upon you. From this time forward, disease and pain will live among you people." The sacred vine was always, from the beginning of all time, your connection to the Sky Kingdom, where you would finally live forever. The connection has been broken. Your people will no longer live forever. Now all must die when their time comes. But, the spirits told them, Gitchi Manitou sent us back to show you how to release your people from pain and misery. Watch. And the spirits spread out their arms until they were filled with all the flowers and all the growing plants on earth. These they dried with their warm hands, and blowing on the leaves and petals, scattered them again all over the Ojibwe lands. Gitchi Manitou sent us here to say that every flower that buds can serve a wise and healing purpose. Every blade of grass can be useful. Growing everywhere around you are plants that will cure all illness and help all those in pain. The spirits seem to be speaking with one silvery voice. You have always woven the supple reeds into mats for your teepees. You have always spread your blankets over fragrant cedar branches and pine boughs. You have always looked at the delicate flowers, twisting woodland vines, and copied their shapes and colors to decorate your clothes. But now we will choose from among you the Midi-wee-win, the grand medicine people. We will show the Midi-wee-win the secrets of these plants. The Midi-wee-win will learn to use roots and petals and stems and leaves to make you well when you fall sick. In their medicine lodges, the Midi-wee-win will call out to the Great Spirit. They will sing their songs and dance their sacred dances in honor of these truths. From this time forward, the secrets will be known to the Ojibwe people. From this time forward, the Midi-wee-win will help cure your miseries. With relief and joy, the people returned to their homes. The disobedient old woman lived with her shame until the day she died. All of these things happened a long, long time ago, but the Ojibwe people have never forgotten which plants can cure disease. They have never forgotten the secrets that Gitche Manitou told them. Even today, when someone is in sick or in pain, the Midi-win can find and use the healing goodness that springs up everywhere from the earth.